Welcome to The Cosmic Codex for December 27, 2024. Pioneers in an Alien Sky. A critique of Dave Freer's Prometheus Award-winning novel, Cloud Castles. Podcast article written by science fiction author Brian Scott Pauls. AI voiceover created using MicMonster. Science fiction and libertarian political philosophy have a long history together, perhaps growing out of the 1930s and 1940s when the science fiction pulp magazines were reaching their peak at the same time as fascism and communism, resulting in speculations about societies, or subgroups, in direct opposition to totalitarianism. In 1979, this close association inspired SF author L. Neil Smith to create the Prometheus Award to honor libertarian science fiction. Dave Freer dedicates his 2023 Prometheus Award-winning novel, Cloud Castles, to the memory of the men and women of the Eureka Rebellion, a reference I had to look up. The Eureka Rebellion started in 1851 as a series of protests by gold miners in Australia's colony of Victoria against its British administrators. Matters escalated over the next 3 years, ending with the Battle of the Eureka Stockade, in which 27 people, mostly miners, died. Freer borrows a number of elements from Australia in general and the Eureka Rebellion in particular, transposing them to the gas dwarf, mini-Neptune, world of Sybil III. The planet itself is mostly sky, punctuated by the eponymous cloud castles. Freer never explains the hyphen, islands of floating vegetation, and the trading plate. Freer describes the world he's created in fascinating detail. Sybil III just had no land. None. Or none that any human could survive on. It was a gas dwarf world, and its solid core lay somewhere many, many miles down below at enormous temperatures and pressures. The lifezone, such as it was up in the outer atmosphere. It was a vast life zone, just resource poor, and short of solid landing platforms. 2 extraterrestrial, extra-Sibyllian, and formerly imperialistic species inhabit the cloud castles, which have been around longer than humans have been in space. Unfortunately, the Thrymai and the Zell hate each other. Their respective interstellar empires seem to have destroyed one another long ago, leaving the Sibyllian populations the only known, to humans, at least, examples of the two species. Trade represented the one area of common interest between the two alien societies. Before their empires vanished, they built an anti-gravity trading plate in the skies of Sybil III to serve as neutral ground, a tradition the local aliens maintained even after their two species annihilated each other elsewhere. Humans first arrived on Sybil III aboard the failing FTL ship Botany Bay, which managed to crash on the trading plate. The survivors threw together a ramshackle settlement they named the Big Sid, made of scrap taken from the wrecked ship and whatever suitable native vegetation they could gather. By the time of the story, the Big Sid is a dangerous frontier town in which life reflects a Hobbesian state of nature, poor, nasty, brutish, and often unnaturally short. Other human planets maintain embassies on the Big Sid. This is mainly due to competition over the hoped-for attentions of the Thrymai and Zell, who nevertheless tend to snub everyone equally. Enter Augustus St. John Thistlewood III, youngest son of the wealthy Thistlewood industrial family on the planet Azure. Augustus is an idealistic university graduate. When he found working in his family's factories as a boy had already taught him more engineering than his professors knew, he added sociology courses to his workload. As a result, he's come to Sybil III to help uplift the local residents of the Big Sid out of poverty and ignorance. Augustus follows in the literary tradition of the lucky fool. While a brilliant, naturally gifted engineer, he has no street smarts at all. Time after time, this places him in perilous situations. Yet somehow everything seems to work out. He often remains blissfully ignorant of the chaos going on around him, which he himself has caused. Much of Augustus' good luck is just that, luck. But some of it is manufactured by his local guide, Breeze, who recognizes his wealth and naivety early and latches onto him as an easy meal ticket. She didn't care what he'd done to be made a remittance man here. It wasn't something that she needed to know. There were quite a few men and women that no one wanted back home, going to hell in their own way on the plate here on Sybil. What was important was that he, and the $300 a month to be delivered via the embassy, was hers. Hers, hers, hers. She'd found him first. A young woman dressed like a Dickensian street urchin, Breeze finds herself misidentified by Augustus as a boy and doesn't bother to correct him. The first half of the book consists mostly of their hair-raising adventures as Augustus stumbles his way through various well-intentioned but inadvisable attempts to help the big Sid's downtrodden. Then the two find themselves kidnapped by a Thrimi cloud castle and impressed into a slave gang to process the flying fauna of Sybil III for trading back on the big Sid. When a daring escape leaves them stranded on an island of drifting plants in the middle of an endless sky, can Augustus' genius and Breeze's cunning save them? Or will they fall prey to the pioneering outbackers, who live beyond the confines of the big Sid in numbers greater than anyone expected? Cloud Castles is a humorous romp through a satirical world in which Freer seems to be sending up the attitudes of doctrinaire libertarians even as he skewers the foibles of bureaucracy and academia. For example, he has a lot of fun with the sociology texts Augustus brings with him from Azure. From his bedside, he packed up his copies of Melkenthrope's Suffering the Human Condition, Belcher's Philanthropy and Uplift, and, of course, his secret vice, an antique copy of On Human Self-Sufficiency. He always tucked it under the other books, as he was rather embarrassed by Kabongo's rather forthright and unfashionable views. But it did have some fascinating ideas even if he had discovered that many tasks were not quite as simple as the author had made them out to be. Augustus picked up the bag and headed out to help the people of Sybil. But I'm pretty sure I also had a big grin on my face when I got to the part where Augustus' ultra-rich father says, "I'm, to be honest, not quite sure what sociology is, or what they do." The best part of the book is how Augustus strides obliviously through one danger after another, intent on his next scheme for social improvement, or his next ingenious invention, like Forrest Gump if he'd been the brilliant Ivy League graduate son of a billionaire dynasty. Cloud Castle's biggest weakness is its cover. I sympathize with the struggles of self-published authors to secure the rights to original art they can afford. And I believe Mark Baldwin's illustration might look fantastic in the original. But any charms it may have are lost in reproduction both online and in print. This is a shame, because I believe many people will pass over this novel who would otherwise greatly enjoy it. Freer's book also has the weaknesses of many libertarian novels, or indeed many novels proselytizing for other political, philosophical, or religious systems. The good guys, Augustus' wealthy, self-made family and those on Sybil III who will make it, someday, are the characters who buy into the favored worldview. Others tend to be either charlatans, saps, or both. As I indicated above, Freer does somewhat better in this regard than more didactic authors. He pokes fun at nearly everyone, including his chosen few. Still, differing perspectives are rarely, if ever, given a fair hearing. But it's no great sin for a novel to have a definite point of view, and satire is the right vehicle for that sort of story. Freer pulls it off here, and non-libertarians who don't let ideology spoil their fun will enjoy the ride. Please share your thoughts about this article by commenting online at thecosmiccodex.com. You can also find source links in the online text. Don't miss an article. Subscribe today to the Cosmic Codex email newsletter at thecosmiccodex.com. Thank you for listening.